For thousands of years, the entire world has acknowledged one fact: the Indian mind and the Indian power of thinking are extraordinary. This is not an emotional claim, but hundreds of historical evidences prove this fact. When in many parts of the world civilization had not even begun, that at that time in India deep research was being conducted on the Vedas, Upanishads, Ayurveda, mathematics, astronomy, and philosophy. For example, Aryabhata, about 1500 years ago, clearly explained the rotation of the earth and the concept of zero. Sushruta, about 2500 years ago, described the techniques of surgery and plastic surgery. Charaka established Ayurveda as a systematic medical science, when in many countries of Europe the medical system was still in its early stages. At that time, students from all over the world came to study in universities like Takshashila and Nalanda. History also tells us that once India was called the Golden Bird. But the real power of India was not only wealth or resources. The real power of India was the depth of knowledge, philosophy, and psychology. Thousands of years ago, Indian philosophers had already understood that wars are not won only with weapons, but are won with the power of the mind and psychology. The greatest example of this is the War of Mahabharata. About 5,000 years ago, Lord Sri Krishna, through the Bhagavad Gita, gave profound knowledge of life, duty, and psychology not only to Arjuna, but to the entire humanity. The essence of the Gita was that a person who gains control over his mind, thoughts, and actions achieves true victory. Today, in the 21st century, modern psychology and therapy have also accepted this fact. Psychologists and neuroscientists around the world believe that meditation can significantly increase mental health, decision-making ability, and concentration. This is the same knowledge that the rishis and sages of India discovered through thousands of years of deep meditation and penance. They did not only give theories, but also proved through their own lives that the power of the human mind is limitless. This is the reason that even today in the 21st century, the world's biggest companies, global corporations like Microsoft, Google, Adobe, and IBM, see Indian talent in their highest leadership roles. Today, many developed economies of the world attract Indian students to study in their countries. This is not because India lacks talent, but because the Indian mind is one of the greatest intellectual forces in the world. However, along with this, there is also a challenge. India's population is approximately 1.5 billion. That is nearly 20% of the world's total population. Controlling such a massive pool of talent is impossible. But history also tells us that if a power cannot be stopped directly, it can be diverted. Even ancient stories describe that. When sages performed intense penance, demonic forces would send various temptations to disturb them. In the 21st century, this distraction appears in different forms. Excessive entertainment, uncontrolled social media.com, comparative lifestyles, and the flood of superficial knowledge. Slowly, all of this weakens a person's concentration and thinking power. The founders of GyanZ believe that the path to making India a Vishwaguru, global teacher again, will not come from a big slogan or movement. It will begin from within every Indian, and it will begin with knowledge. But in modern life, people do not have the time to read long scriptures. That is why GyanZ is a simple effort. The objective of GyanZ is to bring thousands of years of Indian knowledge, the penance of sages, the courage of kings, and the sacrifices of revolutionaries, to every Indian in a simple, concise, and daily format through GyanZ. Every Indian only needs to give 2 minutes a day, according to their convenience, and in return they will receive the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita, the depth of Indian philosophy, sparring from history, and the wisdom that gives direction to life, and that too, directly on their WhatsApp, in their own language. The objective of GyanZ is not only to provide information. The objective of GyanZ is to reconnect every Indian with their roots so that they can understand that the same power exists within them that has kept this civilization alive for thousands of years. And when millions of Indians, every day for just 2 minutes, start thinking in the right direction, then India's path to becoming a Vishwaguru will naturally open once again.